Hey everybody, Robbie Falk here from Maroon and White Daily at On 3 Sports, and I'm here from Swayze Field, Oxford University Stadium or something like that. I forget what it's called. Oxford University Stadium, where Mississippi State has just lost the first series against Ole Miss in baseball since 2015. The perspective on that is there's a kid out here that's 9 years old that never saw Mississippi State win or Ole Miss win a series against the Bulldogs, and that is an incredible run for Mississippi State to have beaten some really good teams. Even more incredible that Mississippi State lost this series to probably the worst Ole Miss team during that stretch. I don't think that's saying too much. I think that this is probably the worst Ole Miss team during that time frame, from a talent perspective, from what they do in the field and pitching wise. And they just dominated Mississippi State from about the 8th inning last night all the way through Sunday. State had a pretty good first night, 8-0. They had one big inning and they pitched it extremely well with Cal Stephen. And then after that, got a 7-3 lead in the second game. And you're thinking they're about to cruise to the series win, going to have a chance on Sunday to sweep the series, because Ole Miss just looked dead after 16 innings of baseball. Please don't come in here. Please don't come in here. You can barely see. You don't mess this up. This is some idiot just wandered in over here into my video. Get out of here. Security. So anyway, 7-3 going into the 8th inning. D'Angelo Sanja didn't really pitch very well. Chris Simona said after the game that his back tightened up on him, but I thought State did a good job with Brooks Auger after him for 3 innings to really kind of keep things where they were. And then the offense just kept getting guys on base, and you're sitting there thinking they're about to blow this game open. They never could. It was 7-3 going into 8th. They were steadily kind of building the lead, and you felt good about it going into the 8th inning with Cam Schuelke. You still had Tyler Davis that you could throw out there. You still had Nolan Stevens that you could throw out there. MSU was in pretty good shape, and the wheels just came off. And you could blame a lot of different things. Mississippi State did not play good defense. They did not pitch it well enough with Tyler Davis and Cam Schuelke. Schuelke gave up, I think, 4 straight hits. Ole Miss tied the game. Davis gave up a hit that tied the ball game up in the 8th inning. And the offense, you look at the offense and what it did or what it didn't do during 3 or 4 innings where they had guys in scoring position, they had guys on base with Ole Miss teetering. They never could knock Ole Miss out. It was 2 runs here, a run or 2 here, when you had a chance to have a really big inning with bases loaded and nobody out, or bases loaded, 1 out. State could never get that big hit, and I think that was huge in the ball game, not being able to do that, and then just not pitching it well, not playing good enough defense. So game tied 7-7. That's where it goes into extra innings. Hunter Hines finally breaks that with a solo home run in the 11th inning that was able to give Mississippi State the lead back, and you're thinking, okay, if they can just get 3 outs. Well, you got 2 outs and a runner on third base, and Monty Larry boots the ball at second base and can't make a play. Ole Miss ties the game. Then Johnny Long gets a home run, gives Mississippi State the lead back in the 12th inning. Mike Bianco gets ejected because Johnny Long flips the bat, doesn't get thrown out. Ole Miss fans are upset. Ole Miss's bench is upset. And it kind of sparked Ole Miss a little bit, and then you don't pitch it well in the bottom of the inning. Nolan Stevens comes in, hits a guy, walks a couple of batters. You got 2 outs, and you get Jackson Ross singling into the outfield to win the ball game, and that was a devastating loss for Mississippi State. You win that game, and I think this series is over. I think Mississippi State sweeps it. That's just the way that things were trending. Had they won that ball game 7-3, had they gotten 2 shutout innings there to end the game, I think Mississippi State sweeps it. I really do. I think Ole Miss was lifeless. I think Ole Miss was ready to throw in the towel, and I think Mississippi State had the momentum. And what you did is give them momentum going into Sunday. And what we saw on Sunday was just, it was bad for Mississippi State. 14-2 is your final in game 3. And Mason Nichols just absolutely shoved it against Mississippi State, gave up 2 hits in his first 6 innings. And this is a career high in innings, career high in pitches. And he said after the game he was hurting. His shoulder was hurting. Mississippi State got shoved against by a guy whose shoulder was hurting. It's not great. So 2 hits. He had 1 unearned run in the first 6 innings, and then he gave up a couple of base hits with 1 out, was taken out of the ball game, and you saw Gunnar Dennis give up a bases-loaded walk. That gave Mississippi State its 2nd run, but State didn't pitch it well. They didn't play good defense because they had another error in this game, and they were bad at the plate. They finished the game with 4 hits in 7 innings. Ole Miss had 16 hits, and Ole Miss scored in every single inning with the exception of 1, and they scored 2 or more runs, I think 4 times. And you saw in the 7th inning, just State just kind of throwing in the towel there with Luke Dodson giving up 5 hits, and Logan Forsythe gave up a game-ending home run. It was pathetic. It was, I don't know any other way to say it. It was pathetic for Mississippi State, the type of game that they had on Sunday. With the series on the line, you have to win series. You have to win SEC games. Every single SEC win is huge for Mississippi State at this point, trying to save Chris Lemonis' job, trying to get in the NCAA tournament. And they're not in a good spot right now. They're 7-8 in the league, and they've had about 5 games at this point that they could have won that they didn't. And that's the difference between a good team and a bad team, is the good teams find ways to win those kind of ball games. The State has not done that. They've won 2 games that were decided by 1 run. They've lost 9 at this point. So Mississippi State's just not in a great place as a baseball program. I mean, even with the progress that they've made at this point, 22-14, and we've seen some major strides. I think it would be foolish not to talk about the fact that Mississippi State is a better team than they were the last 2 years. The last 2 years they were dreadful at most everything, and this year they have had some really good moments, and they've overcome some adversity. They've had some tough wins at this point, but they still don't do all of the little things right that championship programs and programs that are competing at the top of the game do, that programs like Mississippi State have done in the past. They don't defend well enough, and I know what the numbers say, but some of these plays that they didn't make this weekend are plays that are routine. They're plays that everybody usually makes, and they just weren't making them. And I don't know if it's a mental thing, and the defensive numbers are greatly improved. I get that, and people will argue about that, but it's still not a team that does all of the defensive things correctly. Fundamental things today were just so out of whack. Trying to field a bunt, running into each other, running into each other on pop-ups. It was just a cluster out there. And then offensively, the approach is so up and down, you don't really know what you're going to get from Mississippi State in that regard. So it was a frustrating end of the week for Mississippi State. Bad series loss. There's no way around it. Ole Miss is not a good team. Ole Miss has been really bad this year. They lost 8 straight games coming into this, and they are 5-10 now in SEC play and 20-16 overall. It's a team that, unless they really turn around, they're going to miss the NCAA tournament for the 2nd straight year. But they played harder than Mississippi State the last 2 days. I think it's after the 7th inning on Saturday. I think they just dominated after that. And it was back and forth, I know, in the Saturday game after they had tied it up, but Ole Miss had all the momentum at that point, and State never got it back. They never did. Even when they took the lead, it didn't feel safe. So bad loss. State you're almost at the point now, like, you have to sweep, it feels like, against Auburn next week to feel like you can get things back on track. But we're kind of back to where things were last year, and for many the year before, with the fan base's thoughts on Chris Lemonis. I think a lot of people were continuing to just not buy into Chris Lemonis at this point. And, it doesn't have a lot of answers to why these things are happening. This is constant issues for Mississippi State on little things, not doing the little things correctly, defensively, offensively, pitching. It's a problem that Mississippi State has had now for 3 years in a row. And the standard at Mississippi State is competing for national championships. Chris Lemonis set the standard after winning a national championship. There was a standard that Mississippi State had set when Ron Polk was here, and it just kept in that same spot through John Cohen, through Andy Canizero, whoever. And Chris Lemonis elevated that by winning a national title. And when he did that, the expectations grew beyond what they even were. And they haven't been able to capitalize on it. They're now going on a possibility of having 3 straight years of a losing record in SEC play, and we'll see if that happens or not. But it's just it's not Mississippi State baseball right now, and something drastic has to happen for MSU to get back to where they were. And we'll see if they're able to turn it around this year, or if something drastic is going to be somebody else leading the program. Because I don't know if Mississippi State doesn't make the tournament, or they aren't looking very good here late in the season. I don't know if Zach Selman is going to be able to move forward. It would be hard to believe 3 straight years of that is survivable for Chris Lemonis. And, personally, I hope he figures it out. I've been saying that all year. I hope that things get figured out, and we have seen some improvement for this Mississippi State team. But right now, the baseball is so up and down for the Bulldogs, and they've left so many opportunities out there in SEC play. They are fighting an uphill battle with what they have schedule-wise. They got to go to Nashville. They got to go to Arkansas. You do have 3 series at home, but, what you've done in non-conference play isn't helping you right now either. So State will play Alcorn State Tuesday. Then they got a home series coming up next week, Super Bulldog weekend, with Auburn. So stay tuned for that, and we'll have more for you this week. I'm trying desperately to get a Talkin Dawgs live going this week. Schedule has just been brutal for me, and I'm going to do my best to get on there this week, and I'll let you guys know about that. Again, I want to remind you, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you don't already. Subscribe to us at Maroon and White Daily. We got some great things going over there. We have had a huge week numbers-wise, our best week since, I guess since I came on in January, when we had a big rise in numbers. This past week was our best week since then, and it was because of our basketball transfer portal recruiting coverage. What Paul Jones and I have coming out, you guys are not going to get that consistently anywhere else. You guys need to come check that out. And exclusively for this YouTube audience, if you sign up today, I'll get you 2 months, first 2 months for just $1. And to do that, you need to type in State 10 whenever you go to the sign in, whenever you log in, sign in, whatever, sign up, put it in the promo code State 10. I can get you $1 for the first 2 months, and that's going to get you through the transfer portal stretch here, plus finishing out spring ball and into the summer. It's a great investment for you guys if you're a huge Mississippi State fan, and I promise you're not going to want to leave after that. We have a great community, and we're doing some big things over there, so come check us out. I'd really appreciate it. All right, guys, appreciate y'all. Hope you have a great week coming up this week, and I'll catch you down the road.